Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us John Ostenson, who's the CEO of FranBridge Consulting. John, welcome to the program.
Mike, thanks for having me. Looking forward to our discussion.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it as well. Every time I talk to someone, I'm always picking up little tidbits, and I find myself with well over 1,000 episodes in the podcast here. I'm always going, oh, hey, I was talking to someone a few weeks ago who said, and we're always tying little learning nuggets together. So I know that we'll find some here with what you're doing, but get us started with your story. What's your background, and how did you get into franchise consulting?
Yeah, based here in Atlanta, Georgia, with my wife and 3 young kids. And, like so many members of your audience that are thinking about entrepreneurship, I found myself in the corporate world for many years and, but thinking about entrepreneurship. And, long story short, stepped away from the public company world about 7 or 8 years ago, stepped in as president of Shelf Genie franchise system. Shelf Genie, it's custom pull-out shelving for kitchens and pantries, and had the opportunity to step in and support our owners across North America on a day-to-day basis. And for me, that was the light bulb moment of, hey, franchising is much more than fast food, and look at all these different backgrounds of people that are stepping into business ownership that are doing really, really well. And I just saw the power of franchising. So long story short, ended up partnering with a founder. We spun off. We've invested in franchises ourselves as franchisees. So I've sat on both sides of the table. Have had other partners as well. And so I think I currently own about 5 different franchise brands. And but I've got good people that run them, and it allows me to help others do the same thing. So very blessed to work with great clients all across the country. We work with over 600 different franchise brands, all the different development groups, largest system in the country. And I get to help people understand what it looks like to step into franchise ownership, and then how to select the best franchise. And so, really get validated. I've been able to help them do that either from a full-time standpoint or from a part-time standpoint.
That's a big point. And I know we want to dive into all of those things, but I think back in the old days, a couple decades ago, it was like, hey, I want to start my own business. I better quit my job. I better have a whole bunch of money to, be able to pay the bills for many, many months. Then I better have a huge franchise fee if I'm going to do that. And nowadays it's like, you can start a little side hustle and you don't need to be all in. But one thing that I would suspect that you would recommend is you better have all your ducks in a row and know exactly the path forward before you do that, because now all of a sudden it's like that quote, success leaves clues. You don't want to just try it. You want to go, here's the path forward. Franchising is for me because, and the right franchise is. And there's a lot that goes into that. So talk a little bit about the benefit of a franchise versus, hey, I'm going to do a startup and start my own thing. And boy, you're just winging it, hoping things fall into place, hoping you can figure it out. But a franchise is a proven blueprint.
Absolutely. And I'd say about a third of our clients look to step in full time, and step into the ownership role of day-to-day manager. But about 2/3 are looking at a semi-passive executive model where they put a manager in place and they kind of co-manage the manager with that franchisor. So that's one benefit off the bat is you've got a franchisor on the sidelines. It's a great technical resource. If it's a good franchisor, they're going to help keep your manager marching in the right direction. So it's almost like you're tag team that management. But no, with the franchise system, not to be cliche, but it's so true. You're starting on third base. A lot of things have been figured out for you already. You've got a franchisor on the sidelines who's a coach. You're in business for yourself, but you're really not by yourself. You've got other owners across the country that are living the same thing day in, day out. That creates community. That creates shared learnings. You've got a playbook that you're executing against. You know what that path to profitability looks like from day one. Also, oftentimes it's overlooked, but you have bulk buying power, or you have large marketing data sets that you can leverage in making decisions. You just have a lot of resources at your disposal. And also, of course, you're in business to create a cash flow. You also get the benefit of tax write-offs that you don't as a W-2. But then you also are building an asset that you're going to want to one day have to exit on, most likely. And the beautiful thing about franchising is, and I'm happy to cite different studies if we want to go down this path, but it's been proven out that franchises trade at a higher multiple on average versus non-franchises when you go to sell the business down the road in like-kind industries. So there's really a whole plethora. And I will say this, Mike, I mean, nothing's easy. It still takes work. But again, you're starting on third base rather than first base. And so, that's why we're seeing more interest than we've ever seen before in franchising these days.
Did I hear you correctly that there is opportunity to buy into a franchise that the location is already up and running with the management, in place? In other words, it's not like, oh, I'm going to get a license for this franchise and I better break ground and build this and then start from scratch. Can someone select the right franchise and go, oh, this one's already in operational, I'm going to buy it, and then I can step in and let the management team run things, the day-to-day people run things, and I can be that owner from the external perspective?
Yeah, those resale possibilities, they exist. I'd say it's probably 5 or 10% of what we do. So it is a smaller piece of it because, frankly, people hold on to these for a long time. They don't want to go sell them. There is one other ownership model too that I failed to mention. That's what we call an investor model, and there's only 3 or 4 franchise companies out there that are doing it today. But that's one where the franchisor will actually run the business for you. You essentially have a management services agreement with them. I actually just pulled the trigger on another one from my portfolio that falls in that bucket, the investor model. I was down in Florida doing some site selection last week, so I'm pretty excited about that. But
that's where I was going. It is like, if I were to say, John, I love the concept of a franchise because you start off at third base. It's a proven blueprint, all of that. I don't want to start from scratch, but I also don't want another job. I don't want to go into day one when we're cutting the ribbon and myself am putting in 12, 14-hour days because I've got to, do all the things. I want to see if, hey, this location's already operational or quickly will be operational. We've got employees in place. I'm going to come in and work my, let's just say hypothetically, 4 hours a day to make sure things are going, as planned. That might not be the total investor setup that you just mentioned, but maybe it's a hybrid. But I think that the worst thing in the world is for any business owner to just leave corporate America and be in now business for themselves, but really they just have another job. They're just reporting to themselves because you didn't you didn't structure the business as a business. You just have another job, and that's a big shift that I think people need to realize.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%. And that's why we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have guys, corporate executives that aren't looking to leave their day job because maybe they're a really highly compensated W-2, but they say, hey, I want to get something going on the side. I want an additional cash flow. I want exposure to business ownership. I like alternative investments outside the public markets, but there are only so many good real estate deals to be had. How do I find something else? And that's where franchising oftentimes fills that void in their portfolio. But yeah, exactly what you're saying, where, and again, it comes down to having someone that you trust that is a good manager running that day-to-day business. If you're going with that semi-passive approach, and we just have case study after case study of clients of ours that have built out these portfolios over time of franchise businesses, and oftentimes they also invest in real estate, they invest in other things, but they start to create this little organization and they can promote within, and and they're setting people up for success, and then they're taking more of a board of directors or coaching type approach on the sidelines, kind of like you're saying.
And the more hands off you are, the less profit margin you get, of course, but that might be the perfect scenario to preserve your time. So that, that ties into then that portfolio concept. So let's talk about your book, Non-Food Franchising, because I think a lot of people think franchise, I got to buy the Subway or whatever franchise that it is. So talk about the rise and the popularity of franchises that are not related to food.
Absolutely. No. And in franchising, I would say that, we encompass a lot of this in the book here, but we hit on all the key topics around the financials, the funding side, different ways of funding. And we talk about financials as far as what you can make, but then we also get into industries. We get into how can you find the right opportunities. Some of the industries, just to highlight, what we're seeing out there. I always say that non-trendy has become the new trendy. So it's non-sexy, cash flowing, understandable businesses that are Amazon resistant, maybe recession resistant. That's what people are gravitating towards. It's things like gutters and insulation and dumpsters and concrete paving or oil changes or It's things that people will spend on regardless of the economy. They're always going to spend on their pets, on their kids, on their aging parents. They're just going to spend on their health and wellness, on their homes. And so it's businesses that cater to those pockets that we see so much interest in today. And so we give a lot of case studies. We talk about the pros and cons of different industries, the different considerations, variable cost versus fixed cost, just all the different dimensions that we use when we guide clients through the process. We also talk about how to find the right franchise. I mean, there's over 4,000 franchises in the US alone. Now you knock out those in food and real estate. And I'll say that I love people that do food. We need them. We're grateful to them. But there's easier ways to make money. And most of my clients would agree with me. And so when you start narrowing it down, ultimately, what are those opportunities that kind of fit your criteria? What are ones we see resonating out there in the market? And the beautiful thing is there's no cost to work with us. It's very much like an executive search model. We are funded by the brands. If you go directly to a franchise or you go through us, you pay the same franchise fee. So it's a very clean model. So we get the privilege of coming alongside our clients and guiding them through this process and really helping them see behind the scenes. Because if you go out there and just start Googling different brands, you're going to start finding that
you'll get overwhelmed.
You don't know who that leadership team is behind a brand. You don't know what that track record is. That's so important because that's your business partner. So, we help them focus on the right things. We help give them that history behind the leadership team. What's resonating out there? Why are we picking this one? Only has 20 locations today, but look at all these things it's got going for it. Maybe it's got national accounts. It's got proprietary elements. So, that was a lot to digest right there. But we get and unpack all that in the book, and then as we work with our clients.
It reminds me of that book from many years or decades ago. Do you remember Tom Stanley wrote the book, The Millionaire Next Door?
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes when you're selecting the right franchise and doing some of the things you just mentioned, it's not going to be the glitzy, high, gloss looking. Maybe it's going to be a junkyard or a whatever the case, some dirty job kind of like the TV show, it's like, who would have thought that person is doing really well in that industry? Sometimes those are the sleepers. And you're saying that you have certain metrics and things to look for that would say, you know what, here's this one in this sector, this industry. Here's why it's a good choice, because they've got whatever, some of the things like you were mentioning there. And sometimes it's not like the ones that are the, top things that you would Google or see out there. But I think that maybe you could speak to some of those factors and what some of the ahas are that someone would go, I never would have thought about X, industry in a franchise, but wow, that's been a great decision because.
Yeah, the last two I invested in, I invested up in Minneapolis with a great operator where it's a concrete paving business. We do parking lots, fix cracks, we fix potholes, things that are needed. It's a B2B recurring revenue type business. We do all the line striping for parking spaces and talk about a niche. And then the last one I invested in was down just outside of Miami. It's custom orthotics and insoles. They use 3D printing. I mean, everyone has feet. Everyone uses their feet a lot. They're vitally important. And, we cater to diabetics and the older population, a lot of Medicare recipients. And so we've got some national accounts that kind of benefit us and podiatrist, referrals. But it's these types of niches. Again, 90% of our clients don't know what they're looking for until it's right there in front of them. And, we've had a lot of clients buying into senior care recently. Well, senior care is a crowded space, but there's one that we really, really like out there where the founder had established a 700 location senior care business across the US and said, there's really a better mousetrap. Now that I know everything that I know, I'm going to go out and start a new model. And that checks all the boxes. And so that's where we have our clients lined up these days. We have clients that are getting involved in dumpsters. They're getting involved in, just all different types of businesses that you would never think about. Insulation is a $53 billion a year industry. Wow. I bet most of your listeners couldn't name one brand. It's a highly fragmented market.
Yeah.
Yet there's a lot of money to be made, especially with energy costs going up. And, that's a B2C and B2B model. So, it's fun exposing people to these.
So you said something interesting I want to just kind of dive into to make sure it's really understood. If you were talking about the benefits of a franchise because all the reasons we just talked about, and someone is like, this is what I need, but wow, I got to pay John and FranBridge Consulting multiple tens of thousands of dollars just to put me in touch with the right one so that I then can pay the franchise fee. But your services are no cost to the franchisee because the franchisor is paying your fee. So it's no cost to work with you from the entrepreneur's aspect. And I think that's huge because you're just they're just tying into your knowledge base, your expertise, and you are guiding them through the process to say, you ought to consider this. And I think that's a big piece that people need to realize.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful model, very much like real estate or like executive search. And, we've been very blessed. We do more placements than anybody else in the country. And so I say that for the reason of it allows us visibility into what's resonating with different backgrounds all around the country and why is it resonating. So we bring those insights in when we're working with our clients to understand their situation and what may be the best fit.
So I know that we could probably spend 4.5 hours on this last piece, but it really does kind of boil down to, okay, I'm all in. Now, how do I pick the right one? So what are some of the low-hanging fruit, the top points that people need to think about when choosing the best franchise for them?
Yeah, we certainly look at the financial model. We want to make sure there's a lot of meat on the bone from a return standpoint. We look at competitive advantages of a business within their industry. Are those true differentiators and are they meaningful? We look at the franchisor leadership team. Can't put enough emphasis on that. I mean, having been a franchisor myself, that's your business partner. That is such an important relationship that you have shared values, that they're going to have your back, through the whole process. And then again, we look at what's resonating with everyone else out there and why is it resonating. We bring, wouldn't you rather join a franchise system that brought on 50 franchisees last year, or would you rather join one that brought on 2 franchisees? Who's got the momentum? Why do they have the momentum? So, we bring those insights together, combined with what's available in your market, which frankly is some of our biggest challenges these days because things do move so fast. I had a client in Philadelphia that signed a deal 2 weeks ago where he was one of 6 candidates looking at the opportunity at the same stage and everybody wanted it. And fortunately, he's a great guy. And we worked our relationships to kind of position him as the number one. He got the first dibs on territory. But it's competitive out there. And so we're always looking at what's coming down the pipe, what's at the tip of the spear, and bring those in.
100%. So, John, it's been eye-opening to hear what you do, how you do it, and what sets you apart in serving your clients. So I just really appreciate you coming on. What's the best way that someone interested in exploring their options potentially could learn more and pick up a copy of your book and connect with you?
Yeah, come out to FranBridgeConsulting.com. That's FRAN, FranBridgeConsulting.com. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter. We put out some great content. When you do, my assistant will also reach out to you with free digital copies of non-food franchising. You can either listen to it via audio or PDF. And if you'd rather get the hard copy, go out to Amazon. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all of the different retailers. But all profits go to the great charity that we support, Hope International. So know that your funding is going to a good cause if you do choose to go that path.
Excellent. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure talking with you.
Enjoyed it, Mike. Thank you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.